People often wonder what life on the road is really like. And I think many people have a misunderstanding about what this work really entails. Most of the time, quite often, people think that being a speaker who's on the road most of the year involves you standing on the stage and sounding important and looking important and standing ovations. They imagine that people in the audience are leaning forward, hanging on to every word coming out of your mouth. They imagine that like it's just a wonderful, positive experience. And as great as this work is, let me tell you what it's really like. So, as a speaker, especially if you work in education, when you show up at a venue to speak at an event, no one is happy to see you except the person who invited you or the leadership group that invited you, that has been preparing for your arrival. Nobody else in that audience is happy to see you. And usually, the first 30 to 50% of the seats in the front of the room are left empty, and most of the people are sitting halfway back or all the way in the back, sometimes even in the balcony, but the whole front section is just empty. And you might have like one person sitting up front, or you might have the superintendent or person introducing you sitting up front, but the vast majority of people sitting in the back. And to me, their behavior is unprofessional, it is rude, it is inhospitable, unwelcoming, and at the very least, it reflects a lack of learning readiness. But I try not to hold that against them. Why? Because they don't know me, and so I don't take their behavior personally. I think it's possible that they're sitting in the back because of negative experiences they've had with previous speakers in previous years. I think their behavior is a reflection, it's a non-verbal reflection of some tensions that they might have with the school's leadership. And sometimes it just reflects that they have bad attitudes and they're closed-minded. I don't know. Sometimes, quite often, I've heard some people say that, well, they don't give teachers enough time to prepare for their students' arrival, to prepare their classrooms. And so when they're sitting in these PD days, the teachers are restless because they want to get back to the classroom and they got to sit here and listen to a speaker. In any case, their behavior to me is unprofessional, rude, unwelcoming, inhospitable, and all of that. And I'll come back to that, but I don't think, and I tell them this when I'm talking to them quite often, to please, after I've won them over, after they're leaning in, after they're laughing, after they're learning from me, from the back row, I ask them to not make any future speakers feel as unwelcome as they've made me feel. And sometimes they'll laugh nervously thinking I'm joking. I'm not joking. I ask them, please don't make any guest come to your district, come to your city, and make them feel as unwelcome as you've made me feel. Your behavior reflects more about you than it does about me. And I think you should always come into a professional development with the right attitude, with an open heart, with an open mind, with an eagerness to learn something. You should be able to take at least one thing away from every presenter who stands before you. And sometimes you should be able to take something away about what not to do. You might learn from a presenter what not to do when you're standing before an audience, but you should always go in with a desire to learn something. Take something out of it, and you do that by sitting in the front row. You know, I've heard teachers complain that it's their bad kids who sit in the back row, and it's the people who aren't learning ready, who have bad attitudes, who sit in the back row, and yet teachers do the very thing that they criticize their students for doing. And so I think it's a bit hypocritical as well. Having said that, I treat unprofessional teachers, inhospitable teachers and educators and staff members, the same way I treat students who aren't interested in what I have to say. So when I walk into assemblies, it's not uncommon that most of those kids don't want to be there. They're confused about why they are there, and very few people know about me, and they're not happy to see me. And so what I do is I humble myself and I decenter myself, and I seek to slowly build bridges into their lives and add value to their lives for their sake, for their benefit, and not mine. And usually, quite often, they lean in, they're smiling, they're laughing, the spirit in the room changes, the temperature in the room changes, and you can feel love and you can feel peace, you can feel healing taking place in the room sometimes. And afterwards, it's not uncommon for either kids to come and form a long line and just thank me for the work that I do and give me a hug, and sometimes they'll ask for a picture or ask for some advice or just share some of their trauma with me. Same thing with staff, with teachers, administrators. They'll form lines to just thank me. I used to wait for the lines to form and interact with everybody. I'm not doing that as much these days. My health doesn't allow it, my schedule doesn't allow it, and I need to be a good steward of my time. But they'll usually send me emails, post online, to thank me for giving them a fresh perspective, new insights, new ideas, thank me for challenging them, and thanking me for renewing their hope in their hearts. And I'm grateful for that, but I quite often I'm sitting in the front row when I arrive at these venues. I'm sitting in the front row by myself. And there's just this sea of empty seats behind me. And it's not the best feeling, but I'm so used to it that I just know that I have to do what I have to do to build a bridge into their lives. And I try to model for them what they should be doing, what I hope they do with their kids who aren't interested in what they have to say. You have to win them over. I have to win over audiences day after day after day. People who don't want to be there, people who are tired, people who have their own set of challenges and problems. They don't care about what you have to say. It's your job to come in and build a bridge into their lives and try to help them. In the same way, teachers need to learn how to do that with their students. And so I try to model that graciously for them and not beat too many people up. Now, sometimes I do call some people out because it's just disrespectful, but I'll save that for another video. So I say that to say this work is not for the faint of heart. This work is by no means easy work. It's it's not just standing on a stage and speaking. There's a whole lot more that goes into doing this well. And so this work is not for those who are sensitive. It's not for those who need approval or standing ovations or applause to feel validated. It's definitely not for people who have low self-esteem. This work is for those who love people even when people don't love them. It's for those who want to make a difference in the lives of kids, even though this work entails so many challenges. This work is for those who feel called to be salt and light in spaces that desperately need both. And that's why I continue to sit on the front row during this season of my life. I don't know how much longer I'll be sitting on that front row by myself. This season is coming to an end for me, and I'm beginning to transition to be home more, to be more present with my family. And so I'll probably be doing some more virtual things, some coaching, some one-on-one coaching and group coaching for others who either need a mentor to work with kids who are underperforming, or with speakers, aspiring speakers, established speakers who need help growing. But I have a wealth of 20 plus years of experience working in districts all over the nation, all over the world. and I want to begin sharing that wisdom with other people in a more in-depth, personal way. But I'll get to that. But I just wanted to let you know what life on the road is really like. Life as a speaker is really like. If you're a teacher, if you're an administrator, if you're someone who thinks you want to get into this kind of work, just know that you might think it's easier than teaching, and you might think it's easier and less challenging than dealing with students. You got a whole different set of challenges. People who are not interested in anything you have to say. And if you can overcome their objections, if you can overcome their attitudes, if you can overcome their distance, then you can do well. But if you are unable to address those things and overcome them, then you probably won't do very well. All right, but just wanted to give you a little behind the scenes look into life on the road. Today is Monday, but it already feels like Thursday. I've done so much today. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. It's now 5 o'clock, 5:30 p.m. I've done so much today already that my body's tired. It feels like it's Thursday. But I have a presentation, a speech to make every single day this week in a different state every day. So I'm driving 5 hours or I'm flying several hours. Every single day I'm on the stage, 2,000, 3,000 people, 1,500 people. And regardless of how tired you are, you have to be your best for the sake of the people there. And they don't really care about how tired you are, and they don't really care about how good you were the day before. What matters is that you are your best for them, that you meet their needs, that you exceed their expectations, and that you add value to their lives in ways that they perceive as meaningful, achievable, and worth their time. All right, so thank you for watching. Again, I'm Dr. Manny Scott, and I just ask that you like, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell. I just plan to continue uploading content, just dropping some game, sharing some game with you about life on the road, about reaching more kids, about personal development, and all kinds of good stuff. All right. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.